and arguments are just it's blood sport. You understand what I'm saying? So it was just like anything else, like it wasn't just like basketball. So if we into it, then I'm gonna do what I can or say what I can to win this argument. I don't care what it is. If your mama bald headed, if your auntie got one leg and she walk with a limp, hey.
I can't.
Everything
See,
is on
right now. I can't stand them. I can't stand them.
Welcome back. We're back with Married People's Business Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Tolbert.
I am your co-host, Shalise Tolbert.
Oh, man. And we are back for season 3. Can you believe it? It's been 3 years.
I can't believe we are going into season number 3. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? We're going to have to shorten these seasons up because I forgot how to work the damn podcast equipment. We've been gone since November. So I gotta keep warm,
gone since November, like Wyclef.
Man, tell me about it. It took me about 3 hours to open up to hook up this podcast equipment. I've been gone from y'all for so long, but I got it. Once I got back in the swing of things, it was like riding a bike. So.
Yes. Well, I thank you for that.
Oh, I thank you too, lovely. I thank you too. And what are we going to talk about today? We got a great topic for the people.
My goodness! So Valentine's Day is coming up and whatnot. All lovey-dovey. Yes.
When is Valentine's Day?
Every year. It's usually February 14th.
I think I got to run to the gas station and pick up some flowers.
I like Heath bars.
Oh, Heath bar. Okay, I'll get you a few of those.
Some chocolate covered toffee.
I will get you a few of those.
Put them in the freezer.
All right. Well, what are we gonna talk about today? Since it's Valentine's Day that I forgot about.
You know what? You so extra. Since it's Valentine's Day, what we're gonna talk about is when you hate your mate.
Yeah. When you hate your mate, and I feel. First of all, I feel conflicted. Because Mrs. Tolbert came up with that topic, when you hate your mate. So I got to thinking, I'm like, so why in the heck does she want to talk about when she hate her mate? Because for many of you who have met me and have talked to me, y'all know it is impossible. It is absolutely impossible to hate me.
And we're
because
not. No.
I am the most agreeable, non-disagreeable person that you would ever meet. All my Facebook friends know I don't disagree.
Agreeable, non-disagreeable.
I don't disagree with nobody. But when you hate your mate, that's the topic, right? For Valentine's Day, it's a great topic. And funny you introduced that topic, because a lot of people come to us all the time and they ask us, they think we like the perfect couple. They think we never argue, that we never fight. And I have to tell them that I don't know what relationship they think we in.
Right.
But we fight just like everybody else. And it's even worse too, because we two lawyers. So the words can get a little lawyery.
Yeah, they do, Attorney Tolbert. But and we're not talking about hate in the true sense of the word, but everybody doesn't get along all the time.
You might not be talking about hate in the true sense of the word, but sometimes I hate your ass. Do not just Kurt with the nobody but God sweatshirt.
Yes, you did.
But that's what your spouse make you do sometimes. They make you curse.
You dislike me. You don't hate me.
Well, whatever, dude. Sometimes they get on your nerves. And this is the podcast where we're going to talk about that and talk about how do you work through when you have problems with your spouse, when you have disagreements with your spouse, because there's certain things that are off limits. And, we thought this would be a great time to change the podcast setting as well for the people who are listening. You can't see, but we got the ambiance going. We got the fireplace in the back. We letting people who are our YouTube audience, we letting you into our home. We told all the roaches, we said,
don't put that out there. Don't nobody got no roaches up in here.
I know, but
how rumors get started.
We told the spiders.
Yeah, it is that time of year for the spiders.
We said, y'all need to be cool, because we gonna have company today. So spiders, y'all need to stay in check until this podcast is done. But we tried to get y'all ambiance. We got the fireplace going to talk about this topic because it's hot, just like the fireplace in back of us.
Yes. So sometimes your mate gets on your nerves. Your significant other, your spouse, whoever you involved in that intimate relationship. Even your friends get on your nerves sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. And I say that this is a really good topic around Valentine's Day because it is the day is really a time to celebrate love. But in that time and celebrating love, I think sometimes we miss the opportunity to go over tips and tools to help keep that love strong and burning.
Yes.
So I can tell you this: me and Shalise have been together for 17 years.
Married 17.
Yeah, married 17, and we ain't gonna talk about the other times we was together.
We've been exclusively a couple for almost 20 years.
That's exactly right. And I would say between the time we shot our last podcast and this new podcast, we have had roughly 3,162 arguments. And I have counted each and every one. 3,162 arguments. And we almost had 1,163 arguments because we got into a little bit of a thing right before this podcast, but we were okay. So I don't count this last brush up as an argument. But
what's the name of this podcast again?
It's Married People's Business, baby.
And what's the topic of this show?
It's when you you hate your mate.
Mr. 3,000. How many times?
Mr. 3 Bernie Mac. Shout out to Bernie.
We haven't. Our last podcast was in November. It hasn't even been that many days. So we arguing that much.
That's why I was so befuddled.
You know what?
That we had so many arguments from November to.
So this whole episode has turned into an argument now, right?
Nah. We haven't had quite that many arguments.
We haven't.
But we have had a few brush ups. Yeah. And I think that it's very important. The first thing that I would say in discussing this topic, the first thing that I think it's important for people who are in any sort of a healthy relationship to understand is that I think that arguments are par for the course. Those are going to happen. And I think sometimes people set themselves up for failure in a relationship when they think that the relationship is going to be perfect. They think that because you get married, the minute you say I do, or the minute you become exclusive with that partner, or in business, married people's business, when you get in business with somebody, you think that, hey, everybody's always going to be on the same page. And that's not entirely true.
No, it's not. People come from different backgrounds. They're raised in different environments. So the way that they problem solve and deal with conflicts is different.
That's correct.
Even with us knowing each other for so long, we still have different ways of resolving conflict. And, we have to learn each other's communication skills in order to be better communicators with one another.
That's correct. That's correct. And I can tell you what I have learned over my 17 years of being married is that there are just certain things that I have to do in order to avoid conflict. Right. So when me and Shalise, when we get into arguments and we have a disagreement that turns into a disagreement that I don't necessarily like, I've gone to my bag. And my bag typically is I go for a long, long drive. I don't know where the hell I'm going, but sometimes I just drive around. I look at sights. I, leave the house to clear my head. And I just think about, the blessings that God has given me. And I try to think about all the good things, because the bottom line is if you are in a healthy relationship, trust me that the good outweighs the bad. And when you start focusing on those positives, you realize real fast that the positives outweigh the negatives. And then once you cool down and you realize that sheet of paper that you have mentally put in your head, or the mental paperwork that you put in where you've done the plus and minuses, and you realize that on the positive side, you have more to be thankful of, then that's when I turn back around. That's when I go home. And sometimes I don't say anything. I give her the space because I want her to give me the space. But when it's an appropriate time to really talk, then I will come back and I'll engage, and then we'll try to have a conversation. A lot of times it's an apology. I think that's the most powerful thing that you can do in a relationship, whether it be in business, whether it be marriage, whether it be you're not married. I think an apology is an extremely powerful tool to help you get through tough times.
Well, I think that I am still growing in my communication
Yes,
skills,
yeah.
because I went from the person that didn't say anything and I'd walk away to try to cool off to the person that needs to get everything out and I'm not listening to the other side, to now, okay, wait, let's not just stop. I want to make sure that we're communicating with each other and understanding what the other one is saying. So I'm going through that growth phase because it's challenging when you have a position to get the other person to understand when you don't think they understand your position, especially as we're lawyers by trade, our professions. And so it's like, look, this is how I see this, and I don't understand how you see it. You don't see it the same way as I do because I'm walking you through the steps. But again, that takes me back to what I said initially. Everybody's got different conflict resolution background and how they learn to do those things. And so you've got to learn how to step back from what you think and be open and listen to what the other person is saying. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do in the heat of the moment. Hey, I'm not going to even act like it's okay, like I'm good at it, because I know that I'm very emotional at that time. And that's what really sparks a lot of things with the quote unquote, I hate my mate, because you're in your emotions about something or whatever the topic may be, and you let your emotions take over versus logic. And it's hard to go between those two.
Well, I think the main thing that I have tried to do in our relationship is to understand background. Uh, I think that everybody who gets in any type of relationship, whether it be business, whether it be marriage, or if you're starting a relationship out, in my opinion, you have to do some sort of a background check.
Jeez. You need
Yeah,
my fingerprints.
hey, if I had those, I would have
Roll
ran
it
them
over.
before we got together.
Face
But you
recognition
need,
like on the phone.
yeah, but I think you need to do your due diligence, because I think half of the strife that occurs in relationships are a lack of community understanding. And what I mean
Okay.
by that is everyone brings with them in any relationship their own community and familial standards.
Yeah.
So essentially what you have are two families joining. That's in business, that's in life, that's in marriage. You have two completely different families that are joining, because we ain't talking about ancestral relationships. You ain't gonna marry your sister or your brother. You marrying a complete stranger from a whole nother tribe, from a whole nother family.
Right.
So it's extremely important for you to know what the customs of the tribe that is joining your tribe are.
Hmm.
Right, and that's what I tried to do. An example I'll give you is when me and Shalice first got married. It used to irritate me. She don't know this. This is the first time she probably hear me say this. But it used to irritate me that she celebrated everything. I got on my
You
dang on nerve.
curmudgeon dude. You didn't want to celebrate
Man, you know
everything.
what? This is the first day that we took a kiss. This
Look,
is the first day I wiped his nose.
no,
This is the
no,
first
look.
day. I'm
I
like,
did
God
come
dog
from
it,
the
what
family
the
that
heck?
I got an outfit for every holiday. It's President's Day. Ooh,
Now
I got
y'all
an outfit.
see what I'm
It's
talking about? See what
oh,
I'm talking about? I
it's
mean,
Memorial Day. You need an
but
outfit. We
this is
gonna
the
take some
first fight.
pictures.
This is the first argument we got
No,
into.
I
This is,
did.
I mean,
You are so extra.
everything was a drama. As such entertainer would say, a dramatization.
You are
You know,
so
I'm
extra.
like, dude, like, and my tribe, my family, we didn't celebrate a lot of things. So for me, it was a little irritating to like have to go to all these family celebrations, all these birthday celebrations. And what I did was I had to understand where she was coming from, and I had to understand her background, and I understood that she came from a very tight-knit family. She came from a family of people that celebrated things, which once I dug into it and once I saw how tight everything was and how healthy their relationship was as a family, then it opened me up to realize that maybe it shouldn't be something that I hate or don't like. It should be something that I understand and I work through, and then I don't let it irritate me. And I was open to learning a new custom. So now I'm not going to say I celebrate everything, but she has enlightened me to be more of a person that celebrates important events.
Yeah, I mean, we've celebrated things that were significant in our lives. And I people that know me know that I love celebrating birthdays. I may not have a party or anything every year, but I think birthdays are very important. And my mother did that my whole life. I can remember, even if it was just before I started school, I remember having birthday parties in the basement with my cousins and my best friend from next door and her brother, and just the cake, and here I am, 4 years old, 3 years old, and it kept doing it. And the funny thing about it is that when we got to law school, remember that year I didn't get a cake. I think I was 21,
Lord have
23.
mercy.
Look, I was mad. Nobody bought me a
See,
birthday cake for age 23, my
and you
23rd
see,
birthday. I was like, what is going on? Why are we not
oh
celebrating
my
this?
God.
But at any rate, it was always something in family gatherings. So yeah, that was something. And then when we were teenagers and started driving, Michael and I started celebrating Christmas together. So we created our own tradition of going out to breakfast that morning, and then he'd come to my house, we'd stop by his house, and the tradition we still have is going to the Summersville house on Christmas Eve.
Shout out to the Somervilles, to Londa. That's
Talonda,
your special.
Tammy,
Your special.
yes, my special, Talonda, Tammy, Tennille, Mrs. Somerville, rest in peace, Mr. Somerville. But they would let us all be over there from the time we were teenagers till now. We're
Yep.
full grown adults and everybody's got kids and everything.
Yeah.
So, celebrating life was something that was always done, in our family. So that type of communication allowed us to enjoy one another. And so opening up and bringing that to our marriage, he's doing it more now. Michael's like, hey, let's have some people over. It might not be a significant event to me, but he loves boxing. So he want to have people over to watch, major boxing matches. And that's fine with me. Open it up, let's celebrate. That's the way that he communicates in watching sports or whatever. So, it's something that we have now created in our own family unit. So, yeah. But, when it comes to learning things that I didn't do that he does, like I said in the beginning, I was not always the talker. I didn't always want to talk stuff through. I didn't grow up in a house that really talked about issues, even though we were close knit. I didn't do that. So to come into a relationship where somebody's telling me to tell me what you're thinking, tell me why you feel this way, even though as a lawyer I knew how to do that in the courtroom, I didn't feel like I needed to do that here because I don't like conflict. Honestly, I don't. So if I don't talk about it, it'll go away. Well, obviously that doesn't work. And when you've got someone who's as expressive as Michael, not only in his profession but as an individual, you cannot just not say anything about what's going on because it's got to be resolved. So that's where I say I'm still growing and learning how to communicate that way and not just get my point across, but to also sit and listen. And one of the things that I know that I'm still working on that burns him up is to talk before he's done talking.
Yeah.
So learning to listen and not try to counter everything, that's probably been my hardest thing to do in communicating.
And I think you got to give grace to the person, the partner you're with, the mate, the business partner, the spouse, or whoever it is, because we're all human beings that are, we have flaws. So when you know that somebody has a flaw or that they're working on it, you don't necessarily jump on them if they make a mistake. What I have tried to do is I've tried to understand that, hey, she's working through this. She understands that this is something that I don't like and that it may irritate me. But as long as I can appreciate that she's not doing it on purpose, then that's to me half the battle. And it allows for me to understand how we need to work through it. So I think that's important. Know your tribe, know your customs.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, it's just like when you travel to another country, and they have a cuisine that you might not necessarily be accustomed to. when they bring out that monkey brains,
The monkey paws.
the grilled monkey brains,
monkey paws.
and they tell you to take a portion of the grilled monkey brain.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing it.
I'm going.
No, I'm not.
I'm
No,
very
no.
experimental. You know me, so I'm gonna take the grilled monkey brain and I'm gonna try it. So when I go back home and I'm at the crib and I'm like, y'all ain't never had grilled monkey brain. You know what I mean? I'm stunting.
I am
I'm
not
stunning.
the risk taker
You ain't had
like that.
You ain't
No.
had that grilled dolphin, that grilled dolphin fin. You know what I mean? You ain't had that. I'm always trying to experience new things, so I can tell my friends that they ain't never had grilled monkey brain. But my point is, I digress. My point is that when you go to other places, one of the great things about traveling is experimenting different customs, right? So you don't automatically shun the culture. You don't shun it. You actually understand it and you accept it, and then you try to embrace it. And if it's something that you don't like, you maybe don't travel back to that country. But in a marriage, you can't do that. You have to be open. You have to express and find some common ground. So that's what I do. Learn your tribe, learn your community. And then if it's something that is absolutely just you can't deal with, you try to sit down and talk to your spouse about it or your partner, and then hopefully you can work through it. The worst thing you can do when you are having problems with your mate in that area, when you hate your mate, is the other, I guess, area that usually is a problem are arguments. So I came from a family that we are very direct. We're very competitive, and arguments are just, it's blood sport. You understand what I'm saying? So it was just like anything else, like it went just like basketball. So if we into it, then I'm gonna do what I can or say what I can to win this argument. I don't care what it is. If your mama bald headed, if your auntie got one leg and she walked with a limp, that
I can't.
Everything is on
right now. I can't stand them. I can't stand them.
Yeah, if your uncle booty is real high on his back and he reached for his wallet like this.
Look here, Doug. That's Eddie Murphy friend, Doug.
Shout out to Eddie Murphy. I just stole your joke. Come on the podcast, baby. Come on the podcast.
Please, viewers, come check us out.
Yeah, come check us out. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. That was awful.
That was the worst Eddie Murphy laugh in the world. But that's all right. He listening though. He listening.
Look.
So, but my point is that I had to get, you can't say everything in an argument, ladies and men. And that took me a while. Like early on, like in year 1 and year 2, I was talking about that limp. Or if your mama has some defects or something. I'm not saying that I love my mama. I love my mother-in-law. So I'm saying hypothetically, all right. But if you had, I would find the weakest part of an issue, and that's what I was talking about, right?
That's that trash talker in you too.
Yeah. So what I had to realize is that in arguments, when you hate your mate, this is the topic. When you hate your mate, that is the area where I think most people get in trouble is arguments, and they go too far. And I believe that just like in the courtroom, like as two lawyers, this is the way I rationalize it in my mind and myself. It's just like in the courtroom, no matter how competitive lawyers are, no matter what's at stake, no matter what the case is about, you still have the rules of evidence. You still have judges, you still have rules and boundaries, and you can't say everything. Everything doesn't get into evidence. And it's like that when you're dealing with your partner, when you're dealing with your spouse, your mate. It's certain things that just are inadmissible in a relationship, in a relationship argument. So I had to do that. So there's certain things that with Shalise that I just will not say, no matter how much. I'd be like, I bet, man, this will be a zinger, but I'm not going to say it, a zinger. Yeah. But I'm not going to say it because it's going to cause more damage and irreparable harm and you can't recover. You can't take words back. You can't take it back. So that's kind of my thoughts on arguments.
Now, I agree with you. There are certain things that are off limits, and because you're trying to win that battle, but in the long run, you don't win the war when you say those types of things because you're creating emotional hurt that person will hold on to. And
that's true.
You know, you may say things in the heat of the moment and not really mean it, but that person is going to take it and not forget it. And that's something that it's easy to do. It's easy to say that because you want to um, do what you can to get your point across, so to say. And so when that happens, it's like you said, you say whatever, you're going to do, I'm going to get that person when I say this or whatever. And it's hard not to do that because you're trying to get your point across. And I tell you, I've been there too. But one of the things that I think you said is most important, you've got to be able to get to that calm place. And if you can't walk away from the argument in that moment and come back and talk about it with calm minds, cool heads, then you got to be conscious that you're not saying things to dig that's gonna make it worse.
Yeah, I was a big shock value guy. That's kind of what I did. I used to, uh I would say things that shock people, so I had to get away from that. I had to be in a situation where I realized that every word, I can't just say everything I want to say. Right.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's extremely important. The other thing that I think is an area where you hate your mate that you got to be careful of is I would say living arrangements.
Oh
Yeah, there are
yeah.
really two areas that I really think resonate on this topic is living areas, living habits, and also friends. So on the living habits, you just have to respect everybody's boundaries. Again, it goes back to the tribal and the community aspect of when two families join together or partnerships blend.
Yep.
Everybody is bringing their different things with them.
Yes.
Like right now, let me tell you, we doing this podcast. Let me show you something.
My biggest thing. I don't like feet. Why would you put your foot in my face?
See, this is when you see. I knew she didn't like feet, so I put my foot in her face to make a point.
I'm done. I'm done. You did that all on camera?
Yeah, she don't like feet. All right, so I walk around barefoot. Right, I don't like putting on socks and shoes and those things. So I just need her to let me be me. Let me be Strage. Let me be Buck Wild. That, and part of
that just disgusted me.
And part of that allows for you to avoid the hate situation because when you respect each other's boundaries and customs, then you don't understand that. So it took her a while. Like she used to always get on me because I used to walk around the house without shoes on and without socks. And now I think she has grown to love my feet.
I don't care if you walk around with barefoot, but don't put your feet in my face. Goodness.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look, so the living arrangement thing was yeah, that's a good point because we didn't live together before we got married. I had no idea. I mean, I stayed over his apartment. He stayed on mine. Well, sorry, but we did not cohabitate in real life every day. And so to learn some of the things, like I'm still trying to get through stuff. Like the one thing that he used to do that used to irritate me, but now I don't. He'd leave a glass on the side of the sink and then leave and go to work. When are you using that glass again? So, as you cohabitate, one of the things you got to get used to is, how that other person lives. And, Michael's not a slob. Neither one of us are slobs, I came from the house though, my mama ironed t-shirts. So, it's pristine over there. We cleaned up every day and whatnot, And so there was no eating in bed. There was no eating in no bedrooms. There was no glasses left nowhere. Dishes were washed. You put them in the sink when you're done. This dude put a glass on the side of the sink and then leave out. Like, why is that not in the sink? And so I used to be like, just put it in the sink. Then I used to be like, why does he not put this in the sink? So I asked, and he's like, I'm going to use it later. You left for the whole day. Like, why not? Now I don't care.
See, that's the community. Anymore. That's the communities coming together because I lived in a house where we didn't want to mess up dishes. So, Miss Jackie Onassis over here, you know, they can't, they lips can't touch the same glass more than once in a day.
No.
So, you know, they use different glasses when they, and I'm like, dude, what black family does this? Like,
No.
you know, I drink out of one glass, I rinse it out, I put it on the side so that I can use the same glass, so I'm not messing up.
12 hours later.
I'm not messing up multiple glass. I guarantee you the people that's listening to this and watching this, my black people, they gonna understand exactly, because I am not the only black person in the world that does that. Is culture.
What get in that glass while you gone all day? All the dust that be flying around the house. But I don't care anymore.
Hit us in the black people, hit us, black and white people, hit us in the comments section and let me know, do you keep your glass, the same glass, so you can reuse it? Or do you, like Miss Prissy over here, do you use
I will reuse the same glass.
A whole new glass, a flute. It has a flute.
A flute. You know what? You so extra. But not after it's been sitting on the side of the sink and I've been at work for 12 hours. You don't know what's in there.
You keep a clean house. It ain't nothing.
Dust particles fly around. But it's at any rate, I don't care. When I don't mess with it no more. I leave it there. I let him drink out of it. I'll fix his dinner and be like, here, what you want to drink? Here go to your glass. You got around.
Mm-hmm.
Then he'll leave it with milk.
See?
But those are the things that, you know, I didn't know how he lived in real life, you know. So coming together and you know, having two of everything when we moved in together.
that used to get on my nerves too. Like,
yeah,
we joined in this one, and she put her name on the orange juice.
That was not true. Quit playing.
And the milk, and she got separate everything. Like
nobody got separate.
Noah's
everything.
Ark.
Shut up. Like, why are you telling these folks that fibs?
What the heck's going on here?
You telling fibs.
Oh, so we didn't
have separate everything.
You didn't have separate. We didn't have separate everything.
No, we had separate different two sets of furniture.
Had to go out. My stuff went out.
That was not true, because your furniture stayed upstairs in the living room the whole time.
But you was talking about throwing. Where are my chessboards?
Two of them are out. I rotate them. So what are you talking about?
Okay, you packed up all my stuff, and then I can't find
it. It's right in a Rubbermaid tote in the closet.
You see what I'm talking about?
When the last time you played chess?
What I'm talking about, y'all? This is what I go through.
Whatever. And we accumulated those chessboards at the marriage, not before.
Sometimes, man. Damn.
He's so extra.
Florida Evans.
And I guess I'm just as extra because I'm with him.
Damn.
But no, the other thing, you know, with the cohabitating, as I take it to a business level, is, you know, coming to agreements on things. You know, like we had to get new stuff. Like he thought that we were supposed to keep his bedroom furniture as our master bedroom furniture, and we shouldn't buy any new furniture.
No, I had a lot of good times in that bed.
I had to get my sister-in-law to intervene. And tell him she was coming to visit.
I had that bed set for
my point.
Whatever.
Just don't even finish your sentence.
Whatever, dude. Okay, now I'm getting upset, but that's all right.
Oh, now you getting upset. Ooh.
Oh, boy.
But you know, you gotta learn how to compromise and talk things.
And my bed went out, so we got a new bed set.
We kept that bed for the longest. I tell you, so we even had it in the guest room.
That's your compromise.
But you have to compromise, right?
There you go. And I say the last thing that I think that causes you to probably hate your mate, that I think is a trigger, is relationships outside of your marriage. So like, Shalise has this one friend named Shakante. I cannot stand this chick. She get on my dang on nerves.
He's telling y'all a whole story as if y'all don't see his Facebook post. Him and Shakante are like Thelma and JJ from Good Times.
That chick, boy, I tell you.
Leave her alone.
I used to have a head full of hair before I met that girl.
First of all, I've known both of them the same amount of time since the 7th grade. So he's so extra. So he's known her as long as he's known me.
But friendships
do, you know, it's hard combining friendships. And again, we have the advantage of knowing each other for so long.
That's true.
So we've known, even though we didn't grow up in the same neighborhood and we went to the same school for a short period, we still have a whole different set of friends coming from neighborhoods, high school, college, and even in law school. We went to law school together, but we still don't have all the same friends. Because I have my core. That's it. He'd be like, "You remember so and so?" I'd be like, "Nope." He'd be like, "Such." I'm like, "Nope, I don't." And so, you know, having that that group of friends and getting along and making sure those friends don't intervene in your relationship.
That's true. That's a really, really good point. And I think that a lot of strife comes into a relationship all across the board. Again, this is just not married people. This is if you dating somebody. This is if you're in business. You know, you look at as I'm a hip hop head. You look at the Jay-Z Rockefeller dynasty. You know, look at their relationship and how it was basically you know, it basically terminated because of outside influences. Before there were
Yeah.
outside influences, Jay-Z and Dame Dash were the best of friends based off of what I know. I don't know them personally, but I'm just
Right.
going off of media accounts. But they appeared to be on top of the world. They appeared to be good friends, growing a business together.
Yeah.
And then here come Def Jam. Here come Def Jam having meetings with Rockefeller artists. Y'all all seen the video with Dame Dash. What is one of my I watch that video at least once a week just to
I'm
get
sure you
motivated.
do.
Yeah, you know, Rockefeller, man, you meet without me with my artists, you know, like, and I felt Dame on that because basically you have outside influences that are interfering with your business
Business.
relationship. Is
Yeah.
in the legal world, we call that tortious interference with the business relationship, and that's completely
Absolutely.
illegal. That's completely important. Now, when you shift gears more to the social context, we have a lot of people that tortiously interfere with your marriage, with your relationship, and it could cause you to look at your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend differently, and it might not be warranted. So you
Right.
got to watch who you have around your people and then understand how to kind of navigate those waters because you don't need to be taking advice from everybody as it relates to your partner, your spouse, or your boyfriend or girlfriend. So you just have to keep an open mind and understand it is you two that are trying to take over the world or whatever your aim is in a relationship or a business. You two are the ones that are out there that are trying to really, really make it happen. And people on the outside don't necessarily understand the inner workings of your relationship. So you
Yep.
have to keep that in mind and don't let someone create friction in your relationship to cause you to hate your spouse or your mate.
Right. Because you know what? I'll tell you, if that person that you're going to for advice is unhappy, misery loves company.
That is true.
And they'll
Yeah.
create friction in your relationship and be living their life the way that they want to, but you have strife in yours because you were listening to outside influences. And the
That's
same
right.
thing with your business. You know, again, you've got to trust your partner, trust your business partner, and know that you all are working towards a common goal to have a successful business. So, those outside influences, unless you're hiring a consultant to help you in your marketing area or branding or anything like that, but when you've got people that are talking in your ear on the side with your business and they don't have no idea what you all talked about your goals were going to be, that's going to fracture your business partnership. So, you know, be careful in that and don't allow it to affect the communication that you have with your partner, your significant other, your fiance, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife.
No doubt, no doubt. So season 3, we're back. Episode
Yeah.
1, Married People's Business, when you hate your mate. And we wanted to, we didn't have a guest on because we wanted to really have a topic that was, very relevant to Valentine's Day. There are a lot of, even though it's supposed to be a day of love, there's a lot of like strife that goes along during that day. So we wanted to give you guys something that was on our hearts and a nice topic to really lead back into to season 3, episode 1. So if you like this podcast, we want you to do is to hit the subscribe button, like, follow, share it, and also rate it on all major podcast platforms. And when you do that, that allows for us to get more views, more content, allows for us to really be able to create more positive content for married couples and business partners. And we want to continue to do that. So just make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Tell your friends, tell everybody, check us out.
No doubt.
And we appreciate you. God bless you. And we finished the first episode of season 3.
Yeah, MPB. Love you guys. Take care.